I'm Miles. And if money were a sealed room, your net worth would be the pressure gauge hanging right in front of your face. You can look calm. You can post the nice life. But that needle does not lie. It tells you one brutal truth. Are you actually safe? Or are you just holding your breath so you do not break? In 2025, people flex income, cars, and trips. But the thing that steals your sleep is usually invisible. Quiet debt that grows at night, and the thin gap between you and one bad surprise. Here's the weird part. To feel less afraid of money, you do not need to become a millionaire overnight. There is a much smaller milestone that flips your life like a switch. In this video, I'm going to walk you through every level using real, everyday scenes, so you will know where you stand and what the next level actually feels like. This is entertainment, not financial advice. So why do some people earn decent money and still feel broke, while others with average income sleep just fine? Why do you think you are okay until one unexpected bill cracks everything open? Does rich start at a number, or does it start as a feeling? We are going to break it all down right now. Welcome to the ladder to sleeping peacefully. And now, stay with Miles Invests. Before we talk about rich or poor, we need one simple definition. Net worth is not the money in your checking account. It is everything you own, minus everything you owe. Your car, your savings, your home equity, your retirement accounts, your investments. That is the own side. Your credit cards, student loans, a car loan, a mortgage. That is the owe side. If the owe side pulls harder, the total goes negative, and life starts to feel like you are running into a headwind. A lot of people hate this number because it feels cold. I like it because it is honest. It does not care how busy you are, or that you just got a raise. It asks one question. If you stopped earning tomorrow, how long could you stand up before you fell? When you understand net worth, you stop getting hypnotized by the surface, and you start looking at the one thing that actually controls your freedom. From here, we are going to move through clear levels. Not to label anyone, but to show you that every level comes with a certain kind of fear, and a certain door you can walk through next. The first level is negative net worth, or hovering around zero. This is survival mode, where money is not a tool. It is pressure. Your paycheck hits, and it vanishes, because it was already reserved. Rent, debt, interest, and the stuff you do not want to say out loud. You are not lazy. A lot of times you are working hard. You are just pushing a boulder up a hill, and the hill is slippery. At this level, your brain is always running background math. Gas or groceries? Which bill gets paid? Which one gets delayed? You avoid opening your banking app, not because you are irresponsible, but because you do not want to feel judged. And when you fall into dopamine spending, buying something small just to feel better, it is not joy. It is you begging your mind for 1 minute of silence. The goal here is not glamorous, but it is powerful. Get back to zero. It sounds small, but it is the moment you stop getting dragged. When you hit zero, you climb out of the hole, but you are still standing right on the edge. The next level is a thin cushion, maybe a few $1,000s, enough to survive small bumps. You breathe easier, but you do not breathe deep. One car repair, one dental issue, one cut in hours at work, and that cushion can evaporate so fast you barely understand what happened. The biggest change at this level is you start to see an option, not many, but one. You can say no to a few things instead of always saying yes just to survive. You begin to understand why people call money space. Because when you have space, you can think instead of only reacting. The milestone here is not for bragging. It is for switching your state. When the cushion gets thick enough, you realize you are not living on monthly luck anymore. The next level is when you have a real emergency fund. And life changes its tone. You stop punishing yourself every time you walk into a grocery store. You stop feeling your heart drop when a random charge hits your phone. This is the stage where money finally does what it is supposed to do. Reduce fear. Increase options. Give you your calm back. When your emergency fund can cover a few months of basic expenses, you start acting differently. You negotiate harder at work because you are not cornered. You can learn a skill without panicking about next month. You can invest with a clear head because you do not need to win fast. You just need to be right over time. This is the threshold people call comfortable. Not because you have everything, but because one bad surprise does not get to decide your entire life anymore. Past this point, your question stops being how do I survive and becomes where do I want to go? When you enter the range from $50,000 to $100,000 in net worth, I call it the smooth zone. Not rich, just smooth. Smooth enough that money stops interrupting every small decision. You pay bills without praying. You schedule repairs without needing a loan first. And a single emergency usually does not throw you back into the hole. The subtle win is mental space. You finally have room to plan beyond the next 30 days. To think in goals, not deadlines. At this point, money starts changing your personality a little. You become less reactive, less ashamed, less afraid to say no to things that do not serve you. But there's also a trap here. You can confuse peace with victory and raise your lifestyle faster than your foundation. If you do not control the pace, smooth turns into tight again, just because you upgraded too early. From $100,000 to $250,000 in net worth, you enter the choice zone. The feeling shifts from stability to optionality. You can switch jobs. You can take time off. You can move. And you do not instantly collapse into panic. You will notice something real. Toxic workplaces lose their grip on you. Bad managers have less power because the fear of being trapped starts to fade. When you are not backed into a corner, you negotiate differently. You choose projects differently. You even choose your life differently. But do not let that confidence turn into a hallucination. This is still foundation building, not flex season. Growth here comes from consistency, not a one-shot bet. I see this range like a door. It can open early freedom, but only for people who stay disciplined when it starts feeling good. When your net worth reaches the range from $250,000 to $500,000, you step into quiet wealth, not rich for other people to notice. Rich so you can breathe. Here, money stops being only defense and starts producing. You feel it in normal life. You travel because you want to, not because you manage to scrape it together. You upgrade things because you choose to, not because you got forced into it. The biggest shift is time horizon. Survival mode, people think in weeks. Stable people think in months. But people in this range start thinking in years, even decades. You plan. You protect your future. You think about your family and your legacy. And you start asking a deeper question. Am I working for money? Or am I building a life I actually want? From $500,000 to $1 million in net worth, you enter life design. For the first time, work becomes a choice, not a chain. You might still work because you love the rhythm, or you want meaning, or you want to play a bigger game. But you are not working only because you are afraid of bills. That feeling is hard to explain to someone who has not lived it. It is like walking on a bridge that has a safety net underneath. You still step carefully, but you are not trembling. The danger here is not being broke. It is losing your direction. This is where people get pulled into the symbol race. Cars, houses, status. A competition with no finish line. If you let social media pick your scoreboard, $500,000 or $1 million can still feel like not enough. When your net worth crosses $1 million, people call you a millionaire. But the label matters less than the reality. Money moves out of the center of most daily decisions. You stop asking, can I afford it, for the basics? And you start asking, do I want it? And when the question changes, life changes. You start caring more about time, health, relationships, the things money cannot replace once they are gone. But I will be direct. 1 million does not make you 10 times happier than 100,000. Your brain adapts fast. Luxury turns normal. The real difference is not constant excitement. It is freedom, freedom to choose your life, freedom to avoid mistakes made out of panic. That is what 1 million actually buys. And from here, the hardest part begins. Because your biggest enemy is no longer lack of money. It is comparing wrong and living by the wrong scoreboard. This is where most people get lost. Not because they cannot earn, but because they compare to the wrong target. If you have 50,000 and you look at millionaires, you will feel broke. If you have 200,000 and you scroll past mansion content, you will feel behind. And that feeling is toxic because it makes you rush. It makes you spend to prove something. It makes you invest like you are running from shame. I am Miles, and I'm going to say this cold, but true. You cannot win a race where the finish line keeps moving. There is always someone richer, always a higher level, always a prettier highlight reel. If you tie your piece to catching the people above you, you will stay hungry forever. Even as your net worth adds zeros, the only way out is to change the frame. Compare yourself to your old self. Compare yourself to the median. And most of all, compare yourself to what you actually need to live calmly. So, what number is enough? The answer is not one universal amount. It depends on your cost of living and how you want to spend your time. Some people need less because they love simplicity. Others need more because they are supporting family, living in an expensive city, or carrying unique responsibilities. But there is one easy principle. When your money creates a thick cushion and a steady stream, you gain real options. No jargon. Just picture this. Net worth is a life jacket. A thin one and a big wave can still pull you under. A thick one and you float. You breathe, you look around, and you swim where you choose. The question is, how thick is your life jacket? And how rough are the waves in your life? Once you understand enough, you stop playing the game of adding digits just to impress strangers, and you start building freedom that actually belongs to you. Now, so this is not just a story that feels good. I want you to do a simple test. No complicated spreadsheet, just a piece of paper. Write down 3 numbers. Everything you own, everything you owe, and the difference. That difference is your net worth right now. Then write 1 sentence. If I lost my income next month, how long could I last? That answer will tell you more truth than any photo ever will. Next, look at the next milestone. Not as a flex, but as a state change. If you are negative, the goal is 0. If you are on the edge, the goal is a thicker cushion. If you are stable, the goal is steady investing so time can do the heavy lifting for you. Every milestone needs one strategy. You do not need to do everything at once. You need one correct step, then another. When you move like that, money stops being a monster in the dark. It becomes a system you can understand and control. And here's the most important thing I want you to keep. Net worth is not there to shame you, and it is not there to worship you. It is a map. It shows where you are and which roads are safer to move forward. Someone with 50,000, good health, strong relationships, and meaningful work can be living richer than someone with 5 million who is lonely and burnt out. Money solves money problems, but it does not solve life. What money does best is create options. It reduces fear. It lowers pressure. It gives you the power to leave what does not deserve you. It gives you time to heal, to learn, to support the people you love, to slow down when you need to. That is the real value of building net worth. Not to beat someone else, but to stop being pushed around by life like a leaf in the wind. If you are at a low level right now, do not feel embarrassed. You are just in a chapter, and every chapter has an exit, if you face it and move steadily. So let's summarize the ladder. At the bottom is the negative and edge range, where fear drives almost every decision. In the middle is the cushion and stability range, where you start breathing and thinking long-term. Higher up is quiet wealth and life design, where money buys freedom, not 10 times the happiness. And at every level, the most dangerous enemy is still comparing wrong, because it can make you feel poor even while you are climbing. My lesson is simple. Do not ask, am I rich yet as a status game? Ask, am I safe enough to sleep well? Safe enough that one bad surprise cannot crush you. Safe enough to have real choices. Safe enough to focus on what actually matters. And if you want the next level, pick a small but correct target and move steadily, because the biggest reward of discipline is peace. If this video helped you see your position clearly, subscribe to Miles Invests, because every week we break money down in a simple way you can actually use, and comment below. What level do you think you are at? And what next level map should I build for you? I'm Miles, and I'll see you in the next one.